I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim spreading truth and sincerity. Shalom. This video I want to go into an article yet again on End Time Headlines, .org or .com. Don't know which one it is, but and it's concerning the signs that are happening all around us, and as we're heading more and more into the future, the Most High is going to show more of the things, that he foretold about in the scriptures, through the servants of prophets. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You see, so through the signs, that the Most High is showing upon this earth, and by us filtering that through the scriptures, we can see that the Most High, is really visiting this earth which he made, concerning the prophecies that he, spoke about, before through his servants the prophets, and this article is going into that, which reads, can you see the signs that are happening all around us? Question mark. It says, just because most people have eyes to see does not mean that they are able to see. We live at a time where global events are going haywire all around us, but the vast majority of the population is still asleep. And that's indeed the case. If you don't have the truth of Bahasham Yahawashi, you're in darkness. You're still in darkness because, you might know that the elites, are doing their things. You might know that, they're establishing their NWO, but what's more to that? What's more to that is that, the nation of Israel is rising up and that this kingdom is going down. And while this kingdom is going down, the servants of prophets of Bahasham Yahawashi are bringing out very important informations that are, contained in the scriptures, and we're exposing, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, for who he is, and for telling our and telling our people, concerning things to come. This is what is it? 1 Thessalonians 5. This is 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. What does that mean? That means that, it doesn't have to be constantly addressed, what are the signs of the times. We know that the second coming of Yahawashi, let me paraphrase that. What's mentioned with this is like, there's no need to write unto us, concerning the times and the seasons, because throughout the scriptures, those things are laid out. You hear that? And we know what's going on. But we also know that the day of Bahasham Yahawashi, coming as a thief in the night, meaning we're not going to know when the Most High is going to send his son back and when the kingdom of Israel is going to be given, back, to our people, But what we do know is that the Most High gave us signs in the scriptures, that were foretold that we can see happening right now upon this earth. So we know that, the second coming of Yahawashi is close. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. You see, we're not in the, we're not unaware of what's happening upon this earth. We're not ignorant to those things. The Most High has showed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Verse 5, ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. So we are those that have received this truth, which first and foremost started off with Yahawashi, who was able to open the 7 seals, which means the complete understanding of the scriptures, which he spoke about when he was upon this earth, which was given unto the disciples, who later became apostles, and eventually it all trickled down, through the reincarnation, We have received that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding yet again, starting off with the elder apostles GMS on down, and elder Abba Bivens, who was able to break down Deuteronomy chapter 28, in the 1970s, to show that the Bible is talking about the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but eventually also those that were scattered among the heathen nations that might look like the heathen nations, but his lineage does go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob according to their father's seed line. You see, so we're the ones that have received this truth. We're the ones that are aware of what's going on upon this earth. Verse 6, let us not sleep as do others, but let us be watch and be sober. Yeah, so let us be circumspect of what's going on upon this earth. So back to the article. It says, even though our world is being rocked by pestilence, economic troubles, wars and rumors of wars, widespread civil unrest, and great natural disasters, most people simply assume that life will eventually return to normal at some point. And it won't. Everything will go worse and worse, as days go by, as weeks go by, as years go by. Everything will go worse and worse. And the things that is being spoken about in this paragraph concerning the pestilence, that's something that was, foretold, in Matthew chapter 24, for instance. The economic troubles, it was spoken about in Ecclesiastes 12 chapter. The wars and rumors of wars, one example again, in Matthew chapter 24. Widespread civil unrest is written about in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, but also 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, which I already read, It also says in great natural disasters, most people simply assume that life will eventually return to normal at some point. Sadly, that isn't going to happen. I'm entirely convinced that global events will continue to accelerate as we head into 2022, and most people will be absolutely blindsided by what is coming because they just didn't want to believe that things could ever get so bad. And a lot of people have that mindset like seeing is believing. In a couple of videos, back, I spoke about how I got into contact with a friend of the world again that I grew up with, ever since I was 4 years old, and he also said, for me, seeing is believing, so I can tell him all these things, etc., etc., but he's the type of guy that only starts to believe when he sees these things, but what did the Most High say? The Most High says in Ecclesiastes 12 chapter, he says, Ecclesiastes 12:1, remember now thy Creator in the day of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So, before, the time of calamity, before the time of Jacob's trouble, before, things have to get so bad upon this earth, that's when, you have to seek Yahawashi from Yahawashi. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the light and the sun and the moon, that all represents wisdom, so it says, well, those things are not taken away, which means that there's truth, so you have to seek Yahawashi Yahawashi before this truth is actually being taken away, which is spoken about, to the service of the prophets of Yahawashi Yahawashi, that are standing on the highways and byways, but they're also, making videos like I'm doing right now and putting it on YouTube, Verse 3, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And if you look up the word economy, that goes into a housekeeper. So this is going into how those people that are occupying themselves with the stock market are going to be afraid of what's going on upon this earth. Eventually also, the work upon this earth is going to become less and less. Grinder cease means that work is going to become less. That also means that unemployment rate is going to rise more and more. It also says, and those that look out the windows be darkened. This goes into how the future of those people that are upon the earth is going to be dim. They're not going to have a nice thing to look out for. They don't see anything good happening in that future. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the darts of music shall be brought low. This also is going into how there's going to be a lot of unemployment in the future. And as we see right now, things that are referred to as the daughters of music, is concerts, discos, etc. Those things that these people used to, do to enjoy themselves. We see that these things are, on a low right now, due with the measurements that are being taken. So back to the article. It seems like each new day brings us some sort of new disaster. For example, on Monday, the California coast was hit by a magnitude 6.2 earthquake. A magnitude 6.2 earthquake hit Northern California on Monday, bringing significant shaking but likely minimal damage to the sparsely populated area. And a magnitude 6 earthquake is actually quite a heavy earthquake. Also, at the top of my dome, if I remember correctly, it's about 15 to 20 earthquakes a year that take place, that have a similar magnitude, which the damage being done by that is actually supposed to be quite high. It says the earthquake occurred just after noon and was centered off the coast about 210 miles northwest of San Francisco, just off a tiny town called Petrolia that's home to fewer than 1,000 people. The nearest population center, Eureka, is about 45 miles north. The good news is that the area where this quake struck is sparsely populated and not much damage was done. And I don't know if I already mentioned it, but the earthquakes, is also something that was, spoken about in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. I'm just going to grab it. Matthew chapter 24 and starting in verse 6. And it says, Matthew chapter 24 verse 6, "And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." So the wars, the rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are signs before the second coming of Yahawashi. But it says that these are the beginning of sorrow, which means that things are going to get much, much, much worse. And that's the time of Jacob's trouble that we're heading into. So it says, so a lot of people forget about this earthquake very quickly. But that is a huge mistake. Seismic activity is increasing all over the world, and this is especially true along the Ring of Fire. For much more on this, please see my recent entire article entitled "With Just Weeks to Go Until 2022, the Ring of Fire Suddenly Roaring to Life." I don't know what the Ring of Fire actually is. Let me look it up. Also need to keep an eye on, check on the time. Right now I'm having a break. What's this? My fingers are freezing. Ring of Fire. This on the Wikipedia. It says the Ring of Fire, also known as the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Rim of Fire, the Girdle of Fire, or the Circum-Pacific Belt, is a region around much of the rim of the Pacific Ocean where many volcanic eruptions and earthquakes occur. The Ring of Fire is a horseshoe-shaped belt about 40,000 kilometers long and up to 500 kilometers wide, which that's like the region like the coast of northeast, south, like the west coast of South America and the west coast of America. Moving all the way to Japan, and Philippines. I'll show it. So that's the region that is being referred to as the Ring of Fire. And, this man is saying that, this is a place that, a lot of activity is taking place right now. It says last week, the eyes of the nation were on an extreme winds and violent tornadoes that erupted in the middle of the nation. According to the Weather Channel, what we witnessed was some of the strangest weather in the history of the upper Midwest. Wednesday's widespread windstorm, severe weather outbreak, and unusual heat from the Rockies and Plains into the upper Midwest were so bizarre for December that even weather historians were in awe, according to the Weather Channel. I can say with some confidence that this event, the heat and tornadoes, is amongst the most, if not the most, anomalous weather events ever on record for the upper Midwest, weather historian Christopher Bird said. You know, and the most also said that this earth is going to be, visited with tempests and storms, if I'm paraphrasing it correctly. So this is Isaiah 29. In verse 6, where it says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahawah of hosts, with thunder, and with earthquake, and with great noise, and with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire." So let me look up what that word, storm and tempest, goes into. Of course, you know what a storm is, but for edification's sake, it says storm wind. It's a storm wind. It says hurricane, storm, tempest, whirlwind. So, the information out there, the Most High is really, showing his strength upon his earth, man. The word tempest goes into tempest, storm, whirlwind, or tempest. Hurricane, storm, tempest, whirlwind. So, the damage that was caused by the tornadoes was simply jaw-dropping, and the power of the windstorms completely shocked a lot of the experts. In fact, we are being told that last Wednesday, the United States experienced the highest number of hurricane force gusts in a single 24-hour period ever recorded. When wind speeds are that high, wildfires can easily get out of control, and most 400,000 acres were burned in the state of Kansas in less than 3 days. What did it say in Isaiah 29, verse 6? "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahawah of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and with great noise, and with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire." You see, so it says the bulk of that, almost 366,000 acres, was in the four-county area. Many farmers lost everything. In some cases, the fires moved so fast that there was not even time to move animals out of the way. One firefighter that was on the front lines said that he had never seen fire move so rapidly in his entire life. "It looked like a massive ball of rolling fire and smoke," said Keith Heberer, emergency manager for Russell and Ellsworth counties. Heberer, who has worked as a firefighter and emergency manager for more than 20 years, said the blazes as incredible. He said he had never seen fire move that fast. A record number of billion-dollar natural disasters hit the United States in 2020, and I believe that we are going to absolutely smash that record again in 2021. But this is all perfectly normal, right? Yeah, it's for us because we know that these things need to happen. If these things don't happen, as it says in what is it? Second Esdras. Let me see if I'm correct. This is Second Esdras chapter 4, verse 28. "But it's concerning the things whereof thou asked me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come." So destruction of this wicked empire that is, ruled, under the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, the Sukabaiman upon this earth, that, has not been destroyed yet. Verse 29, "If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good." So if this kingdom this society which is ruled by the so-called white men, which they have been in rulership during the Greek Empire. They've been in rulership during the Roman Empire. They've also, come back into power in the revived Roman Empire, because we can see all the Roman and Greek influences back in the society. If their kingdom is not going to be taken away and destroyed, then can the kingdom that is laid up for the nation of Israel cannot come. You see? It says, "For the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness had it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of threshing come?" So, as Adam transgressed, the statutes of the Heavenly Father, that's when, the evil was sown in the hearts, of his descendants, the tendency to do evil. And during the time of Ezra, there was already a lot of ungodliness. But how much more is there in this day and age, and how much more is there going to be until Yahawashi comes back? Verse 21, "Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed had brought forth." You see? So yeah, let me see. Is there a scripture I want to bring out? Yeah. I'm going to grab Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, and then I'm going to close it off. Because this is what the Most High has basically done, He's setting up watchmen, which are the servants of the prophets. This is Ezekiel 3:17. "Son of man, I've made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth, and give them warning from me." So the Most High, He has set up watchmen, which refer to the prophets, which start off with the elder apostles, GMS on down, and those that teach according to their word, or to their doctrine, better said. And we have been made a watchman unto the house of Israel. And what does a watchman do? A watchman watches what's happening, and then he reports what he sees. That's what we're doing. We're watching the news. We're bringing out information, in relationship to the scriptures, and we're trying to warn our people from the things that are coming upon this earth. "When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand." So if we know this truth, we know the things that are coming upon this earth, but we're not warning our people, those people, are going to die. But they're going to die because we didn't warn them, and their blood's going to be upon us. Verse 19, "Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul." But if we do know this truth, and we speak these words to warn our people, but they decide not to do anything with it, not to return back to Yahawashi, to amend their ways, and try to please the Lord to the best of their abilities, hey, then we have cleansed our hand, and they're gonna die because of themselves. Their blood's gonna be upon themselves. You see. So a small summary concerning this lesson, spoke about, the signs that are happening all around us that show you that Yahawashi is visiting this earth which He made through the prophecies that we're seeing, and Rawchaa, I can make more videos on this, to really show you that the Most High is visiting this earth. So with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading truth and sincerity. Shalom.